I often talk about pack design needing to work from two different distances. Firstly, 2 meters away, so that when you approach it in store, you recognize it and it looks appealing. And secondly, 30 centimeters away, once you picked it up off the shelf and you're looking at it in your hand. These are two very, very different viewpoints, and the most successful brands out there operate really well at these two different distances. Now that's the same for most brands that you can think of, but there is an area of FMCG products that almost asks for something else. As well as that 2 meter distance and the 30 centimeter distance, it needs to look appealing and part of that home environment. Most products are tucked away and hidden in shelves underneath sinks or in cupboards or in cabinets. But bathroom products are slightly different. Bathroom products are left out by the bath or by the shower, and it's important they look like they were meant to be there. They need to look like you were proud to purchase them and to have them into your home. The bathroom at home is your own little spa. It's a little sanctuary, so any product that you put in there needs to work really well and look like it's a spa type treatment. So the brand I want to talk about today is Radox Shower Gel. Now, this went through a redesign not too long ago. And I want to talk about what they've done well and what they've maybe done not so well on there. As I mentioned earlier, it's hugely important that when you put these products into the bathroom environment, they look like they were meant to be there. They need to almost be interior design items that are laid out and complement the bathroom. What Radox have done particularly well here is try to do a nod in the direction of these spa type treatments. So when you look at the pack design, let's start with the logo part first. This is something that is consistent across all of their products. A very simplistic green circle in the center of every pack. It looks like one of those authentic, very minimal types of product. And this is hugely important, as I mentioned earlier. The brand logo is reversed out of that dark green color. So even though it goes quite small, it has a lot of punch at fixture. Reversing out of a darker color is a lot more powerful than doing a positive color on a lighter background. The brand logo itself is quite interesting. With any brand logo, you try to build in aspects and elements of ownability into there. And I feel Radox have fallen foul of that age-old trick, which is we've got an R in the name. Let's drop the leg of the R underneath below the logo. Now, it used to be 10, 20 years ago. That's what all brands did. It was a way of making typefaces ownable and unique. But the upshot of that was that so many brands did it, it became a bit pastiche and maybe a little bit overused. So I wonder whether there are other elements that maybe could have put a nod towards spa type treatment here rather than falling into that sort of old school pastiche way of looking at it. The other element that works really well here, and it's very knocked back, you can only see it when you pick the product up, is the little pestle and mortar that they've got as an illustration on the brand mark. Now, creating these two different zones and these two different levels, the Radox brand mark being white out the background, this being a lighter green on the background, the illustration part, allows it to support this spa proposition, but not compete with the logo, not try and take over. Next down the hierarchy is the descriptor. Now, on this particular pack that I'm holding here, the flavor descriptor, or the fragrance descriptor as I should say, is described as feel active. I think from memory this used to be called aquamarine or marine, which again works really well with this mood boosting fragrance and this sort of focus on how it makes you feel. The actual fragrances in there, or the flavors, however you want to pitch those, sea salt and lemongrass are almost sign-offs underneath this feel active communication. Now, that's a great way of sort of supporting and just explaining to consumers who may not be fully sold in on the mood proposition what these are going to smell like. Next down the pack hierarchy is the illustration in the background, which is there to support this fragrance, and it alludes towards those key ingredients, the sea salt and the lemongrass on there. It's done in a very abstract way. There's not too much of a focus on it. It's there purely as a textural element, so that when you stand away and it's positioned in the bathroom, it's quite abstract, but quite simple. It's not too overbearing. It's not got lots of tiny little elements competing with one another. Now, the key thing here, and this often happens with personal care products, is that the pack is actually a tottle, which is the best way to think about that, is an upside down bottle. So in the in-store environment, it sits on its head, but when you get it home, you turn it the other way up so it sits on the lid, so all the product runs down to the bottom. So it makes sense, so you can squeeze it out a lot easier. The downside of that is that you then can't see the branding. Effectively, the branding and all of the pack communication is upside down on the pack. Not an issue in store, but obviously when you get that home, it looks like it's the wrong way up. So when you're looking at pack design, it's always important to have that end use in mind. If this is something that's going to be left out in the bathroom, something that you want your consumer to feel proud about, always ensure that the way this is set up, the canvas that is created on the pack design, is what the consumer is going to see in their bathroom, because that's how they'll remember it. That's how you create those signposts so that next time they're in store, they'll recognize that. Overall, a really interesting pack and a great move forward for them. It answers those specific needs from a consumer really, really well. How do I find it in store? Creating that sort of strong signposting. How do I access those simplified pieces of information on the pack? And also, how does it look when I get it home and I get it into the in-home environment? Whilst it does allude towards spa, which is fantastic, it could be better with regards to the orientation on the pack, just so that those key elements and attributes of the brand are instantly recognized the next time you're in store. Well, that's it. That's a wrap, as they say. I hope you found it informative. If it adds value, then please do subscribe. I'm Al, owner and creative director of Slice Design. You can follow me on my LinkedIn page, which is linkedin.com/in/Alan Gilberty, or you can follow us on our company website, which is slicedesign.co.uk. So until next time, have a fantastic week and keep well.